Billings, who were also quite busy. So Shane McAdam came over from Adelaide. We got Tom Fullerton, Jack Billings, which is pretty surprising. And then we traded up to pick 11. And then James Jordan, we lose. So I keep saying we, but I'm a D supporter. Fred to Sydney. Harms and Brody Grundy also go to Sydney. Harms to Western Bulldogs.
I think they might have wanted to get more from the Grundy deal. Like they gave up, I think it was a pick in the mid-20s last year to Collingwood, but what they got from Sydney, they moved on to get McAdam and Fullerton in. So Fullerton isn't a like-for-like replacement, but he's a player that actually can play forward as much as he can play ruck, which is something that they tested Grundy with, and it probably just didn't work.
Yep.
I like the Fullerton pickup. I think he's going to be quite handy for them if he gets a look, or at least he'll press his case quite nicely at VFL level. Shane McAdam should be a starting forward for them. I'm a big fan, and you lose your kind of chances when you get Rochelle and Rankin ahead of you. That's fair enough, and he can offer a fair bit. He's 28 though, so he's in the peak of his time. So they're not going to get a whole lot of juice to squeeze. But if they're in a premiership window again, if they're competing again, he can be a nice difference maker in that attacking third. Billings, I think, is an astute pickup, just given that they lost Jordan and lost Harms, and you kind of looked at their midfield and thought, well, yes, they got Oliver and they got Petrarca, and you had Viney to that, and it's fantastic. And they can probably bring Brayshaw in a little bit, and then Sparrow is probably that fifth guy. But they were relying on Jordan and Harms a lot this year, especially when Clary's out for 12 weeks. When Brayshaw's maybe needing to play on the wing or at the flank. So just someone that can run through the middle. And they've got a few other guys that certainly can do that. Like they can throw Cozzy in there, Neil Bullen, and a few others. Yeah, Woden. He's going to be a pretty interesting one to watch as well. Bailey Laurie can play further up the field. So, I don't know, it's a good chance for Jack Billings. Sounds like the Saints are paying a fair portion of his contract anyway. So nice and cheap, didn't cost them much. Future third round pick. The Jordan loss, I think it's a great move for James Jordan. I think the D's might have wanted to keep him, but we're probably just resigned to the idea of losing him quite early. And they got some nice compo back for him. James Harm's another one. They were kind of open to just allowing him to look around, and the Bulldogs might be a good home for him. And then the Grundy deal, they admitted failed experiment. That's cool. Move on. Get someone in. We can rely on Max again, and kind of gets them a bit more focused. It was obviously a very big distraction for them. Not even like in the second half of the year, just through from round one, as good as they were playing, even at the best of times, it was a very big distraction. And then, as you mentioned, they move up to pick 1, so they pick 11. Sorry, so they've got pick. It'd be nice.
Would love pick 1.
Well, they certainly could. Like they've got pick 6, pick 11, their future first. Again, is that enough for pick 1? Probably not. Just given what North Melbourne can offer, which we'll talk about in a sec, but they can at least make a move up the draft order, which they want to do. They might be able to trade with a Hawthorn or trade with the North Melbourne and get themselves into pick 3 or pick 4. So that'll be interesting to see what they do. But if not, they come away with 3 first round picks for this year and next, and they're pretty well set up. So it's they're in a good window. Just going to see if their list actually improves off their trade deals from this offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I'm pretty optimistic now, given that we bombed out by less than a goal. So adding these parts, we do lose a bit of depth. Billings is an interesting one. We did do a very good video last week about why clubs weren't chasing Jack Billings, based on an article by Ed Carmine. So that's a good one to check out, to look at the sort of industry's perspective on him before he got traded to Melbourne, and see how hopefully that one works out. So interesting stuff. So let's move on.